Sucharita Ishwar is the founder of Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship, CWE, a platform set up in 2017 that empowers 4,000 Indian women to start up and scale their enterprises. 4,000 should have become a larger number. 4,000 was when?
It's currently 4,030.
4,000 plus. Okay. She was awarded by Niti Aayog in 2020 as one of the 100 women leaders transforming India. Please give her a big round of applause. As India Ambassador for 50 in Tech, Sucharita also introduces Indian tech women-led startups to the global stage for visibility and funding. As Senior Director of NASSCOM till 2011, she led the Diversity and Inclusion Initiative to mentor women leaders in the ICT industry, amongst other initiatives. She's the founder of two not-for-profit organizations, Madhyam and Voices. Mother of two daughters and hopes to enable young women to dream big and transform dreams into reality. Sucharita Ishwar. Also a member of Silver Talkies, which should get another round of applause. Niharika Shetty is the head of the non-profit vertical at Wisdom Circle, where she focuses on bringing in meaningful opportunities from the social sector for retired professionals. Previously, she has worked in the development sector and consulting, through which she has experience leading projects in solving complex problems. Niharika is an alumnus of the Lady Shri Ram College and the London School of Economics. Niharika Shetty. Tanishta Sanyal is the head of the education vertical and partnerships at Wisdom Circle. Over the last 13 years, she has played various leadership roles across content, product, and business functions of both early stage and established education, for profits, social enterprises, and CSR initiatives like Byju's, Avanti, educational initiatives, and Cognizant. Alumnus of the IIT Bombay and the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Tanishta Sanyal. And a person who needs no introduction, but I will still read through this. Nidhi Chawla is the Chief Executive Officer and the co-founder of Silver Talkies. She leads the business, strategy, social outreach verticals, and social engagement initiatives of the organization. And as you can see, she is passionate about making active aging a viable goal for older people and dreams of a society of empowered older adults. She has several years of experience in the financial services sector, having worked with SREI, International Securities, and McKinsey & Co. Nidhi has been the recipient of several leadership awards for her work in the elder care space and is currently a member of the CII Senior Care Task Force. What is this segment about? This segment is about you know what they say, retirement is not the end of the road, it's just the beginning of an open highway. This segment is all about that. If I can summarize it into one line, retirement is not about hanging up your boots and saying goodbye to your professional skills. New avenues are opening up for older adults to engage themselves productively and meaningfully. And in this round of panel discussion, we will learn about the opportunities available for an experienced workforce in the education and social sectors, and understand how becoming an entrepreneur can be a possibility. All yours, Nidhi.
So thank you so much, Sucharita, Niharika, Tanishta. I think this is one segment which has actually brought a lot of people here today. And I think it was very interesting to see the crowd outside at the tables. People were hovering at Wisdom Circle and CWE too. So I guess this should be an interesting one for all of us. So thank you for being here. So Sucharita, I will open up with you, right? You know what Arun was introducing, you have gone through a lot of career transition in your life as well. Do you really identify yourself as a second career entrepreneur right now, running CWE that you are?
So yes, I have made many twists and turns in my career, and I think a lot of women especially do that, but I see a lot of men also doing it, depending on certain situations that come up. For example, the first twist or turn in my career was when I had my first baby. And I was then in a very fast-paced career in advertising. Very exciting, very well-paying, but very demanding on time. And that didn't work to look after a baby. So that's when I made my first shift into the development sector, which was absolutely fascinating and rewarding for me. So I have made these shifts. And what I'd like to really share in this group is that I decided to become an entrepreneur in my 60s. And people were already asking me, yes, okay, so when you retire, what are you going to do? Will you be traveling? Will you be going to stay with your children? And I said, no, I see that there is something to be done. And my own experience as a woman made me focus on women. I began to see that there are so many women who have education, skills, even experience, and they want to do something with that, and they don't know how to get started. So that's what really made me get started with Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship. And I didn't have any funding. I just spread the word. And very organically, in these few years, we have more than 4,000 women across the country, and some outside also. I was just telling someone about our member in Canada. So who come to us, we help them to start up a business. They come with an idea. We tell them, is there a business behind the idea? If not, please go back and do some more work and come back. If they're already into business, we help them to scale. How do you grow to the next level? So I don't know if that answers your question, but I just thought I'll share with you that, as a 55 plus person, how I just jumped in and started something with what I knew and my experience and what I saw needed to be done.
So my follow-up question to that would be that, many of the people here may be very curious, what does it take to become an entrepreneur? Is there a kind of a broad framework that one has to look into? And especially in today's date and age when there are so many startups around, there is so much of talk around unicorns and funding. Where do you find your feet in such a heated space, and how do you find your own ground?
I think the first thing is the desire to do something and be willing to go forward, whether people say, oh, it's a great idea, oh, no, XYZ is already doing it. To really stand your ground with the idea that you have and be willing to explore it. I think that's the first thing, because there'll be a lot of people telling you that it won't work. Having said that, it also requires a lot of work on the ground. Like I said, people come to us with a business idea. We listen to them. I mean, we have 21 senior industry leaders with marketing, finance, technology, investment, various kinds of background. So we have one of them listen to them and say that, hey, it's very half-baked and it sounds like 10 other businesses already in the market. So go back and develop your idea. What is unique? What is unique that you are bringing into the market, which is going to make a big difference to people? Who are your target customers? It's not the world in general. Even Amazon will have target segments, the biggest company. So who is your target customer? Do you know him or her? And finally, what is the pain point which you are solving? If you are offering some service or some product, it must solve a problem with which the consumer is dealing with. So these are some of the things which, I think we need to keep in mind. And also, like in everyone's life, there are ups and there are downs. So be willing to go through the ups and downs. Take the help that's available. There is a lot of help and support available today. Get out there, take the help required, but be willing to stay the course to follow your dream. That's what I would say.
So Wisdom Circle is a new startup on the block with a very aspirational idea, I would say, to create second career opportunities for retirees, right? And in the last 8-9 years that I have been around in the senior care space, right, I have actually seen many companies trying it out and they have faded away. And I'm just hoping, and I think many of us in the room are hoping that the scenario is changing and things are looking up, because companies who came in before you, they were also very, had a good intention. They really wanted to create a mark in the space, but unfortunately that did not happen. So my first question to you would be, given the last few months that you've been active in this space, how is the scene looking to you? Are there opportunities for seniors now?
Great question. First of all, just thank you, Nidhi, for having us here, and thank you everyone, Silver Talkies, for inviting us here. I first want to start with addressing something that we might not exactly look like the audience here, but in our hearts, I think we are the same, because we are all young at heart, right? That's something that I'm learning about this segment, and because, like you heard, I've mostly worked in education before this, right? I want to, so to your question, right, has the environment changed? Are there opportunities now? Other people have tried this before. I want to borrow a little bit from what Sucharita just said, that when you're just starting something, and Wisdom Circle, like you said, is a few months old, right? You've got to put your head down and try, right? And so that's what we are doing. We have our heads down and we are trying. And what we are finding is that it's a simple, resounding yes. We are asking companies just like a really simple question. And our founder is sitting here. Neeraj is right here right now. I'm going to borrow a word he has been using a lot in our team meetings, right? We are unearthing demand, right? And the word unearthing, as opposed to creating or carving or whatever else, is important because it exists. Right? We are literally going to organizations and saying, hey, are you hiring? Sometimes, in fact, we are saying, hey, what's a problem that you're trying to solve and not able to solve? Right? And they tell you, people talk, right? And then we just pose a very simple question. How can we help you? Here's what we do. We have retired professionals with us, right? And as of now, we have close to 1,000-ish people who are signed up on our platform. Of a variety of backgrounds, and armed forces is a specific focus that we have. So, long-winded answer, I'll cut it here, but yes, they exist.
But with the, so much of conversation that's happening these days around diversity and inclusion, right? We are talking about diversity, including women workforce and things like that, but age diversity, is that really happening out there?
Great question. I think the broad answer is that I don't have the data for it, right? But from the conversations that we have been having, and we've been having a lot of conversations, and I'd love to sort of pass it on to Niharika too for talking about the social sector as opposed to, say, the for-profit corporate sort of sector. Yes and no, right? But there is a move towards it, and diversity is a big mandate across the world, and that's important because as a platform, our aspiration is global. We are India first in what we are trying to do, but it's really global in the approach to what we are trying to do. So diversity and inclusion in consideration with age is something that's there. It's a conversation around the world. So it's there, it's beginning to pick up, but there are specific observations in the social sector. Niharika, would you like
Yeah. I'll just add to say that, I mean, when it comes to the D&I angle, the intention is definitely there. Also know from past work in consulting and so on. But in a lot of cases, the intent sort of doesn't translate to action because they honestly just don't know how to go about it. And I guess that's where a company like Wisdom Circle would come into the picture. as Tanisha referred to the social sector, what I've seen both personally and also talking to many organizations is that they generally are just more inclusive, more open-minded. I mean, that's just how the orgs are. They don't tend to look at people or talent from any kind of lens, right? They're always happy to have capable people on board to help with whatever the organization is doing. And that's what I've been seeing over the past couple of months as well.
And I can just sort of add a very specific example. So one of the opportunities on our platform that's been seeing great traction is a career counseling role, right? And we were surprised. We didn't actually know. So there are many nuances whether full-time opportunities work better for a retired professional to take on or a part-time opportunity. Interestingly, a lot of people that we've surveyed say they want full-time opportunities. There might be nuances to that. But the career counseling role has seen great traction because incidentally, it's a part-time role, it's an online role, and the existing set of career counselors that they have are in their 40s. And that's what they've found to work. And so that naturally extends to 50s and 60s. So in that very specific case, it sort of exists, and for them it was a no-brainer to say, yeah, we can think of sort of. Like not a very data back, but anecdotally through the conversations, it's there.
No, data I understand. It's far and beyond to find. It's very difficult to find in India right now. But Niharika, can you just elaborate on, based on the work that has been done so far, which are the different sectors where you're actually seeing opportunities coming up?
Thank you. So, in fact, at Vision, we are representing, say, two of the categories, education and not-for-profit. But, of course, there's a lot of, as we call it internally, demand, which is basically work opportunities. From your regular for-profit companies, right? Domain expertise, so to say. So any industry, any company looks for things like experts, advisors, mentors to senior leaders within their organization and so on. And there are also very subject matter specific opportunities, like a metallurgy expert or a power sector expert and so on. So there are many opportunities like that there. When it comes to education, of course, Tanisha can add, but it's teaching, mentoring, maybe curriculum and content. When it comes to the social sector, we're seeing more of, say, like the org operational roles as opposed to programmatic roles, like not the program that the NGO works on, but more the internal NGO operations itself, like finance, fundraising, like a COO equivalent and so on.
So what is the general expectation when an organization is looking to hire a retired workforce? Are these paying opportunities, or are they expected to be on honorary basis? How does it work?
We can both add from perspectives, but short answer: paying roles.
Yeah.
Right? Paying roles. I think what we believe as a company is that. Time is precious, right? As we were listening actually to the earlier conversations, there was a lot of talk about investment, right? You invest in your health, you invest in your wealth. What do you invest, right? Of course, you invest money, but you invest time, right? And what time are you investing in your soul or your happiness, right? But that can't be the only gain from your time, right? You are investing for a return, and you give time, the money you earn from it, you decide what to do with it, right? There are opportunities that pay across a variety of ranges. You choose what's meaningful and relevant and acceptable to you, but companies are willing to pay.
Including the not-for-profit ones.
Not-for-profit too? Okay.
Yeah.
So Charita, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think there are different roles that people want to play. One is, from our experience at CWE, they would like to be mentors. They have been there, done that, whether it's managing finance, whether it's developing a marketing and a sales plan and executing it. They would like to mentor a young company coming up, or an entrepreneur who does not feel confident about these areas. So that generally is a voluntary role. So, and they give fixed hours of the month to the entrepreneur. And many of the women entrepreneurs on our platform are social enterprises. So many of them want to encourage and contribute to education or environmental or energy efficient products and services, or sustainability focused businesses. So they find something innovative, they want to be part of it. And sometimes they are voluntary mentors. Sometimes they take equity, and it's like sweat equity, so they put in their time. Sometimes they are in a paid role, for example, managing or being the CFO, for example, or managing whatever operations or marketing, etc. So it could be a paid role. Or they decide to work with an entrepreneur in a field that they are interested in, to learn about that sector, because they have an idea which they want to execute. So they have never been entrepreneurs before. Working with a new entrepreneur, they sort of learn the skills and manage the ropes to go forward till such time as they decide to launch their own social enterprise or for-profit business. So I see all these different kinds of ways in which people are contributing. I mean, we have, as I said, 21 industry leaders who are giving their time to us. And it's only in some of the funded projects that we pay them. Otherwise, they give their time as and when they are available to our entrepreneurs to guide them and advise them, mentor them, etc.
Lovely. Just curious, Sucharita, on the CWE platform of the 4,030 women that you spoke about, how many of them are 50 plus? Are there older women who have actually started their ventures?
Yes.
What percentage would that be?
I am the first example. And we do have not a large number as I see, because again, there is a cultural thing which I faced. Why do you want to struggle? Why do you want to work so hard? It's okay, you've worked during your working life. You should relax, spend time with your children and grandchildren. Yes, I want to do all that, but I also have time I want to give to something which I am interested in, which I know I can make a difference in. So I do see older women, and I'm speaking about women, and I do see men also, starting up something after they have finished with their formal career, because they see that there's a gap which needs to be filled, and they have a brilliant idea which they want to take forward. And there are people around who support them. And that's always there. If you have a great idea, people will come forward to support you. So it's not that, there's no age barrier to starting something new.
I just have a question to that. For example, in our club itself, we have many second career entrepreneurs, if I may call them so. So for example, our member Madhu Mehra, she was a banker all her life. Then she pivoted, and after she took a VRS, she now sells her beautifully handmade knitted products through her brand, She Who Knits, and she sells via Facebook, right? Now, from an entrepreneurial definition point of view, or say a CWE backed kind of, a venture, is there an opportunity for somebody to start off even with a concept like that and convert it into a successful venture? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, firstly, I'd like to say that we see a lot of entrepreneurs who have pivoted from their original careers. A lot of IT professionals have taken a break. Maybe they started a family and they had to take a break, whatever be the reason. And then they discovered that they have a passion for, let's say, healthy food. And they start off something in that area. Or they've always wanted to do something in fashion, so they start off with that. Or in education, there are a lot of women who believe that there's a lot to be done in education. So they pivot from their original careers and go into something which is a passion for them, which they feel they can contribute to. So they do that. And what was the other part?
So I was asking, like, can it be like a small size, or does it have to be like something which is really scalable and has to go to a certain,
So yes, there are what we call lifestyle businesses and then scalable businesses. We at CWE are completely agnostic to what kind of business is it, or what industry sector it is, what stage of business it is at. Today she might be just doing something herself at home, a solopreneur as we call it. She may be just producing the products at home and selling it through Facebook or Instagram. That's a great start. That requires certain skills to do that. So she comes to us and we sit with her and we see, do you want to scale it? Because there are some people who are not very keen to scale it also, and that's perfectly fine. They also stay in our ecosystem and benefit from it. And they learn how to market, how to make a business plan, how to reach out, how to create a target customer segment, reach out to them and sell to them. So that's fine. The ones who we see are scalable and the entrepreneur wants to scale it, then we work with them in helping them to scale it. My colleague who's sitting here, Suma, right now we are working with a bunch of 20 entrepreneurs in Mysore, around Mysore, Coorg, Belgaum, places like that. Not Bangalore, because there's a lot happening in Bangalore. We've decided to reach out to those places. This is just one project we are trying out. And so many of them are like what you say. They are very small. They've started from home. And they have an ambition to grow. So we are working with them to grow them.
That's very heartening to know. Lalita, I hope you're listening. Lalita was very curious. Tanishta, I'll come back to you. Since you focus on the education sector, right, can you kind of elucidate what kind of opportunities exist, and especially the Wisdom Circle mission of 1 million teachers and mentors? Do tell us about that.
Absolutely. I think, like Sucharita, like you just said, right, one of the things that people are really interested in is teaching. And just to lead up to answering why 1 million teachers and mentors and what kind of opportunities in education, it's a little bit important to understand why we chose this to be an area of focus. We spent a lot of time. This is data that we actually have. We've collected this through hundreds of interviews with a lot of people over the age of 50 to 75, right? And painstakingly gone over them. One theme that emerged from almost everybody is that they want to share. Like just that word share in some shape or form, and share what they know, right? Like over a lifetime of experience, you know something. Over 30 years, 35 years, 40 years of doing something, you really know that something, right? And education is much broader than, I think now, given the environment in India, around the world, education and edtech it's sort of compared with K-12. It kind of ends at that. Or maybe college or MBA colleges, right? And what is usual is either you're teaching like a K-12 something online, or you are taking up a course, you start teaching in a college, professor. So practice is something that's come up fairly recently by the UGC. You don't have to have a background or a PhD to teach, but even before that, people taught. But it's so much more than that, right? Because people know something and they want to teach. That is the focus. That is what we are trying to do, right? So you can think of the education focus as a platform for people who have taught before and they want to continue teaching. A lot of people who've taught before and want to continue teaching, we find, figure out how to do it themselves, right? They scale it. They go to people like Sucharita and say, hey, we are running this tuition, how do we scale it, right? And Sucharita will help them, right? But there are so many others who perhaps know something about animal husbandry so much more than anyone else does, or who knows something about, like, I don't know, Mars. I did aerospace engineering, somehow Mars is coming to mind, more than anyone else does. And they can really teach that to an extreme detail. How do you give them an opportunity? So that's why 1 million teachers and mentors, which is, if you are someone who has a lifetime of experience in something, and you want to share that with someone, we will help you figure out how to do that, either by connecting you to organizations that can leverage that. So right now on the platform, we have both paying and volunteering opportunities. Like I said, career counseling is one. We have volunteering opportunities with Teach for India. We have part-time facilitator opportunities with smaller organizations in K-12, and we are working on building relationships with colleges to go beyond K-12, right? So broadly, teaching and mentoring, and some amount of content creation, like Niharika was saying, are the kinds of opportunities on our platform.
So opportunities in the education sector are only for those who have a teaching experience, or are there any other kind of roles also which exist?
You don't need to have a teaching experience.
You don't.
Right? It's for anyone, and it's for the organization who's hiring to figure whether you are relevant for that particular role, right? So, for example, it's been in the news and conversation of late, and many of you in the audience might actually know much more about this than I do. I know what's been there in the news, but professors of practice, right, is something that's sort of been suggested in the national education policy, something that's been approved by powers that be, saying that colleges can now hire people who have not taught before but are deemed to be an expert in something, right? Because they have worked in that field for a long time. This is just one example of, if you have not taught before but you know something really well, there are opportunities for you to teach, right? And we will facilitate finding such opportunities for people who sign up on our platform.
Just wanted to add to what you said, that there are many opportunities available like this. I mean, every incubator, every accelerator is looking for specialists. Our CWE platform, we welcome people. You may have a banking background and can guide an entrepreneur on how to apply for a loan and go through that process. You may have a marketing or a sales background and can then help the entrepreneur to develop a marketing or sales plan. You may have a technology background and be able to tell her how to build in, for example, digital strategy into her business, how to go to market using technology. From very basic things like a basic website, many of these women entrepreneurs don't have. And you don't exist in the world unless you have even just a static website and a professional mail ID, things like that. So there are many things like this which you can guide them with. And, we welcome, and I'll interested to contribute, to share, to give your learning and give guidance to any kind of business. It could be in education, it could be in garments, in IT, in services. I don't know if our member, her second innings is here. So, right, Manjula. So her second innings, what are they doing? They are helping women to get a second career. And,
I'm wondering if the men are feeling left out right now.
I want to share a story about a gentleman. I would love to share a story about a retired banker. My father's friend, really. My father retired from State Bank, and this is a retired state banker, an uncle, really, that I called up saying, please sign up. We're very new, but please. Uncle was like, okay, Sanyal Saab's daughter, okay, I'll sign up. And he's a banker. And after doing that, though, he taught in NMIMS College in Bombay for a while. And he just heard the idea of the wisdom circle, and then he started telling us what to do. He's like, listen, you need to start this and that and this. And we heard him out. He also was one of the first retired professionals we placed in a mentoring role with an organization where he's mentoring school principals on how to mentor teachers. And how the experience translated is because in State Bank, right, there are these training colleges. So a large part of his career was actually spent training bankers on behavioral science, and any large organization, you really need to figure out how to work with people. And those sort of things translate so well. Like Niharika was saying, see, there are verticals, horizontals, however you define it, but the horizontals, right, the people skills, the finance, the edge, all of that is so transferable, right? And this is just one example. I just want to sort of say that it made me realize that organizations really need experienced people to help. They just so need them, right? And it's just about connecting and making that match.
Niharika, in fact, what Tanishta and Sucharita was saying, in fact, I was watching the clipping of the Intern movie. How many of you have seen the movie Intern? Have you seen the video interview that he records? And he talks about how he doesn't know the .com and what a USB connector is, and he's completely clueless, right? So do you help out people who need training as well? Is there any upskilling or reskilling which is facilitated for? And and also please share with everyone, how is Wisdom Circle, if somebody is looking for a second career opportunity, how can Wisdom Circle support them?
Cool. So to the first question, I guess simple answer is not right now. But what we're doing is trying our best to sort of prep them. It's not sort of any formal training or skilling, but help prep them so it just becomes easier and smoother for everyone involved. How to find opportunities, as we've been saying, they are there and there are plenty. And people like us, Wisdom Circle and CWE, are here to make it sort of easier for those who are interested to come and find these opportunities and make the best of it. Tactically, I guess the answer would be to come and sign up on our platform. Please visit the stall. We have a table outside. And we'll sort of take it from there, right? Whatever you fill in the sign-up form helps us understand your background and what you're interested in, and then helps us sort of match relevant opportunities for you, and as much as possible handhold you through the process. So that's what we're doing.
Also, the Intern movie released before COVID. Post-COVID, nobody is unaware of Zoom. So we're finding it to be different.
Okay, yeah. So we'll just take a few questions from the audience now. Yeah, just one second. One question here. Padma, 1 second, there's a question here, and then we pass on the microphone to you.
Awesome, Nidhi. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be part of it. Thanks, Sucharita, for bringing me over here. More than a question, first is thank you for the wonderful initiative. That's part number one. But the second observation I do have is there is no formal training for anybody who wants to come back. So that was I was just hearing. So wanted to give a heads up over here and give a hands to you. Anybody are just thinking about what should be my next step, happy to just come and then give a 2 to 3 hour session of where they are starting, how they can just go back. That would be a simple, give back for me to just give it over here. That's all I wanted to share about it. Thank you.
Yeah, the question was, the companies you work with, do they have an age bar? Do they look at age as a factor when they're looking at giving people opportunities? As in the upper limit?
Yes, we have found that to be a case in some places, that they say that, oh, but we don't hire beyond this age. That said, all the opportunities on our platform are for retired professionals. So the other part of the answer is no, as in we are really creating these new sort of unearthing these opportunities and creating new types of contracts. And I think there are many lawyers and people around here, but there are ways to basically form new contracts. So yes, there might be policies, but no, those policies are not set in stone. It can be different.
At CWE, there is no such bar, so you are welcome to come. We would most be happy to have your contribution in any way.
Okay, the second question was, do you look at viability, then scalability, and then funding of any project you take on?
Sorry, I didn't.
Viability of the project, that becomes very important. You said you're sector agnostic, which is fine, but you look at viability because it can die a very quick death. Anything is not really a sustainable business idea long term. So do you look at viability when you help them?
Yes, if somebody is starting up an enterprise, we would like them to be sustainable. So that is something that we work with them on. Like I said earlier, we help them to go back and do more work and come back. We help them to develop a business model canvas. So those are some of the things, because, we don't want them to die a quick death. Nah? That discourages them also.
Okay.
So,
Actually, for our retirees, most of our opportunities tend to be part-time. They're not full-time opportunities, and therefore the age restriction doesn't always, or rarely comes into play. So I just wanted to add that.
Niharika Shetty, Tanishta Sanyal, thank you very much. This was a very, very enlightening panel discussion. Thank you, Nidhi, for moderating it beautifully. I would now, yes, mementos for both of you.